Hi there, it's Lauren with How to Heat Press, and today I'm going to show you in Design Space how to create your own design to make thank you cards like this. These cards, my whole hope in making them was to have my son, whose birthday it recently was, involved in creating thank you cards, and he is at the age where he gets the concept, and I thought him having quotes and me writing them was nice, but then I came up with the idea of using these cute little photos and then having space for him to actually write his name on the card. Um, it just seemed like a really nice idea. So I'll show you how I went ahead and did this. So as you can see, I'm in Cricut Design Space and I am using Cricut Access. This to me is just such an easy way to create cards. There's tons of great designs. It just saves me a lot of time, and I would say it's well worth the $10 a month, to me at least, to have all these designs. So I'm in Cricut Access. I just typed in thank you to come up with cards, and I was looking for a design. I really just wanted the words thank you. I'm looking to sort of do a minimalist design. So I'm going to start with this design. And I really like it. It just seems like the words are easy. I like that it has the cutout as well as the drawn section. But I'm going to need to customize it to make sure that my photo can fit there. So go ahead and click customize. Oh, we'll replace what I had on there. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and all of these things that are attached, oh, I guess they're not attached. We can ungroup things, that way it's going to make it a little easier for me to edit things. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this background color. Nice to know, but that's just kind of a placeholder. I don't need it. The next thing that I'm going to do is, I see that these are attached. Oh, new reshares and Tailwind tribes, exciting. I see that these are attached together, so I'm going to go ahead and detach these layers. I'm doing that because I need to edit the size of the font on here. This is too big. It's too big for what I am hoping to do. So now that they're detached, I'm going to move this writing to the side and save that for later because I do need that. And now I'm going to go ahead and start editing down the size of my card. In this case, I don't need the top of this, so I'm going to go ahead and insert a shape. I'm going to insert a square, and for the size of my card, the one size of this card, the front half, is 4.25 by 5.5 inches. So I'm going to unlock my shape, go ahead and type in 4.25 for the width. I guess I'm going to want to do 5.5 for the width. And then the height is 4.25. And now I've got my shape that's the same size as my card. I'm going to put that as close as I can on top. You'll see why that'll help me out in a little bit. Now I'm going to select both layers. You can do this two ways. You can use your shift button and you can hold that down. You can see that these two are grayed out and so they're now selected, or you can just highlight it all and it will select those two. Now that I have these two layers selected, I'm going to slice. My goal here, I'm just trying to get the words separate from the rest of the card. So now that I've sliced, I can see what layers I've got here, and I can delete the things that I don't need. So in this case, I don't need this background, I don't need this, and I don't need that. Okay, so now I've got, you can see here on the card, this is where the little slots will be for my background cardstock to come through, which is great. And then my letters still fit here, which is great. I do have this extra line kind of on the outline where I didn't set my shape perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and use the same technique. I'm just going to insert a square, unlock it. I'm not concerned about the size on this one. And then put it on top of that extra line I'm trying to get rid of. select the 2 layers and slice. Then I'll go ahead and delete what I don't need, delete these layers. Something to keep in mind when you are trying to slice, if you're ever slicing and it's grayed out down here like this and it won't work for you, Cricut can only slice 2 layers at a time in Design Space. So that's part why I moved this drawn layer off to the side, because if it were on top, it wouldn't allow me to do the slicing. Go ahead and select both of these, slice, and get rid of my, excellent, my extra lines there. So this is looking a whole lot more cleaned up now. My next step is I'm going to slice these words out so that they will be separate. I want to keep these lines. Those are important for, they're going to be, like I said, the cutouts to hold the cardstock, so I want to keep those, but I need to make these words smaller. So my next step, again, lots of slice in here. I'll add my square. I'm going to unlock it so I'm not getting any of those corner cut lines. Select both layers, both the words and my square, and slice. And now I can pull apart my different layers here. So I don't need this layer, and then I just need one of these 2. So either one will work. Now you can see when I put these 2 together, they look great. Didn't have those quite lined up. Excellent. Alright, now that I have those 2 together, I'm going to select both layers and group them. That way, when I resize them, both the drawn layer and the cut layer change. Alright, now I can move this back into my card. Now my whole idea here was to have the photo here and a little space underneath that my son could sign them. He is learning how to write, so he's going to write love and then his name is Riv underneath here. So I think that looks good right now, but now I need to make sure that I have a spot for my little photos. So I went ahead and I measured the size of these little Polaroid photos, and I'm going to insert a square just as a placeholder to represent the photo. And again, I'll resize it. The width on these is 2.125 inches, and the height, oh, I didn't unlock it, so I'm going to unlock it so that it can become a rectangle. The height is 3.375. Alright, so I'm not going to leave this here forever, but I need it now so that I can space everything out and add in the cuts that are going to be the way that the picture gets held in place. So I'll go ahead and change this color so you can see what I'm doing next a little bit easier. Okay, now that I have the picture in place, I feel pretty good about the size of this. I might make it just a little bit bigger, but I think that that looks quite nice. So I need to add in some lines here, and the lines are just going to be the little slices that will hold the photo. So in shapes, I'm going to select line. Now I've got my line. The size here isn't that important. What's true is I just want to make sure that it's enough to hold the picture, but it doesn't have to be. I'm not too concerned about it being exactly a certain size. I'm going to play with the angle until I think that I've matched it up, and I'll make it maybe a little bit smaller. You can see how the lines are a little bit over the edge of my picture. These photos are just, you know, they've got a little bit of thickness to them. So I think having the lines be a little bit wider than the corner of the photo is a good idea. So now that I've got this ready, I want the angles on all my lines to match. I think it's going to look more professional that way. So I'm going to go ahead and copy just using Control-C and Control-V. I copied and pasted that line, and I'll go ahead and add it down here. And now this one, I'm making another copy. I need to flip this. So I'm going to go ahead up here and use the flip horizontal, and now I have a perfect line at the same angle as my others to put over here. And one more, Control C, Control V, and there I go. All right, so you can imagine when I go to make this, I've got the cut lines for all my photo to hold each corner of the photos, my drawn layer as well as my cut layer on the words thank you, and then the insert card. So I'm feeling good about this. Next, I'm going to delete the square because I don't actually want that to be part of what I cut. All right, I'm making this on my Cricut Joy. You could certainly make it on something else. When I click Make It, I'm going to go ahead and do this on the card mat. What do you notice? This isn't what I'm hoping for. I don't want all these different mats. So I need to go ahead and go back, and I need to select everything, and I'm going to attach the layers. That way, hopefully, sometimes I forget which ways this all works. When I do this on the card mat, everything is together. All right, well, this is looking good. But the last little trick here is that when I make my card, this is where the hinge or the fold of the card is going to be. So if I were to cut it like this, currently as it is, it would be, my card would be upside down. So when you're actually in this preview, you can rotate and change where your design is. So now that I've rotated it, it's ready to cut and draw, and I'll be ready to make these little cards. Follow along with the rest of the tutorial. The rest of the steps are pretty self-explanatory, and I hope that these cards are helpful to you. I think it's a great way to make your cards a little more personalized, and especially with kids, to help them get involved. Thanks so much. Please subscribe and check out some of the other articles on our blog. Have a great day.